And we are live. It's your favorite insurance agent, Donald Jr. And
Dr. Michelle DeSalle.
yeah, it's our
But
first
what
time
tell?
leading the introduction together. That was pretty good. High five. Good job. So today we have a really, really fun topic for you guys today. It's about the benefits about being a part of a chamber of commerce. And I personally just joined the chamber world about going on 3 years this year, and I absolutely love the chamber. But we have an exciting show for you today. We have the executive director and CEO of the Liberty County Chamber. So I'm super excited about this topic. What are you thinking, Dr. DeSalle?
I am too, because a lot of times people, they hear about the Chamber of Commerce and they have no idea the ins and outs and the workings of what happens at a chamber. Why do people, become a part, and the benefits? So I'm glad that we're bringing this to the forefront so a lot of people can get their questions answered tonight.
Absolutely. So if you're watching this live, go ahead into the chat, type hashtag live. If you're watching the replay, go ahead and chat, type hashtag replay. And the purpose of this channel is to educate people about personal finances. Because growing up, I feel like my parents didn't educate me about how money works. And I have a Baylor business degree, and they still didn't teach me personal finances. And everything I learned has been out of college. And so that was the purpose of the show. I know quite a few people. So what I do is I bring them on the show, interview them live, ask all the questions that I have and Dr. DeSalle has. And then also we open up to you guys. So if you have questions, definitely type them in the chat. That way you can ask our guests. And so that's the purpose of the show, is to get all our questions answered. And so let's go ahead and get lit. All right, so without any further ado, let's bring up our guest, Jennifer. Jennifer, I don't even know how to pronounce your last name. How do you say your last name correctly?
Jennifer Chavira.
Chavira.
Chavira. I'm mixed Mexican and white, and I'm a California girl, so we go with Chavira.
That's
Well,
awesome.
all right.
Sounds like Shakira, but with
Hey.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. I know how swamped you are. So go ahead and introduce yourself. Who are you? Where are you from? What are you up to?
Yeah, so I'm Jennifer Chavira. I am the president, CEO of Liberty County Chamber of Commerce. I am born and raised in California. I was an athlete myself, played softball, went to Midland College, and then I finished up at Central Oklahoma in Edmond, Oklahoma. Go Broncos. And then landed in Houston. So had a little bit of a career in Houston. I was a kinesiology major. Fell into business like some of us do. We go to college and then we find into something else, and went up the roads that way. And then live in Atascocita now. I have 3 kids. I have 2 boys and my daughter. We're an athletic family, so I got a football player, basketball player, and a newly volleyball player. I think we just signed her up last night. She's a little bit nervous about that, but that's okay. So, and then I drive into Liberty. So, Liberty County is a surrounding small towns, and Liberty Dayton is where we're at. So, we're located in actual Liberty, Texas. 77575 is our zip code, and we're in the heart of downtown Liberty, right in the square. Across from City Hall, the beautiful grass and canopy, and church across from us, library. So we're in the perfect part of Liberty for all of our businesses in the surrounding community.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
A little bit about me and how I got here from California to Liberty.
That's exciting. It seems like you've been around the world, and
Yeah.
end up in Liberty County.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
exciting. So tell us about that. Like, what was your process of being selected to becoming the president and CEO of Liberty County
Yes.
Chamber?
Great question, right? So Liberty County Chamber of Commerce has gone in a revamp and a name change. And last year, July of 2021, they were Liberty Dayton Area Chamber of Commerce. And they were under a wonderful staff, Marianne Campbell, Bruce, and Chris. They had ran for close to 30 years, and they were just in retirement and stuff. So The board was looking for somebody to take over. And so was the community. And I was just right up the street at Partnership Lake Houston, which encompasses Humble, Atascocita, Kingwood, Fall Creek, Summerwood, just the surrounding areas, the growing community out there within itself, within the Beltway. And I was with them for about 3 years as an investment development director. And so with that, I was out in the community, just meeting business owners, meeting new businesses in the community. We were heavily involved with Humble ISD, so we always knew what was going on with the schools in the area, all the upcoming schools, the developments and stuff. So when Liberty was going through the change, I had ambassadors that were a part of my chamber, kind of like how you opened it, saying that you've been in the chamber world for a couple of years now. I have other ambassadors that were part of Partnership Lake Houston, and they kind of let me know about the opportunity that was out here. So I jumped on board. I put my name in the hat, and we went through all the processes of securing the position, and we secured it in August of 2021. And we were handed a task to come in and kind of revamp the chamber and just like revive it, get it back going again. It's going to be 100 years in 2023. So we're knocking on the door of our centennial. And what better time to revamp? I mean, the chamber went through a pandemic, just kind of like all of us did. And everybody was just ready to be back in person again, ready for a refresh and just some networking and bringing in the younger entrepreneurs as well, because Liberty is a very deep community, a lot of generations here that currently live here, have grown up here, have opened businesses here, and then their offspring has done the same and kind of just follow suit. So being an outsider and coming into Liberty and being able to process all the changes that we did in such a short amount of time and the love that we've gotten from the community has been phenomenal. So that's how I was able to make my way this way, just really a change in staff, a rebranding of the community, and me just being in the right place at the right time and saying, hey, we'll go ahead and take on this task.
That's awesome. Sounds like a tall order to take on.
Yeah, right. Very
So,
mildly put, but absolutely. It's just me and my co-partner, Allie Smart. She is the best hire that I could have done. Her and I had a little bit of stint together at Partnership Lake Houston. And so I knew her from that. And so when I came out to Liberty, having Allie put in for the role was phenomenal. And so her and I have kind of tag team, and we've been working together since September. September is when Allie jumped on board with us and stuff. So we're a 2-girl team, and we kind of handle everything. I handle everything from the front end to the back end. Allie handles all my communications, or our communications, setting up speakers, making sure everything looks beautiful. She's very detailed oriented, which God bless her for that. So together, we make a great team. We bounce ideas off of each other. She knows the community. She knows, what has worked in the past and what hasn't worked. And she also knows like what the community is looking for. So it was kind of a great addition to be able to add her to the team.
well, that's super exciting. So, without any further ado, everybody's probably wondering, okay, why should I join the chamber? Like, what are the benefits of the chamber? You probably have like several stories and testimonials of some of your chamber members.
Absolutely. So a chamber is a nonprofit organization, and it is funded by the small business owners in the community. And so when anybody starts a business and they, seek mentorship over it, or they reach out to the Better Business Bureau or to WorkSource Solutions or to a financial guidance, they're probably always going to tell you to join your chamber. Have you joined your chamber? Have you called your chamber? Because the chamber is the heartbeat of the business community within that community. And every chamber is different. So every chamber has different focal points because every community is different. You have chambers that have, $1 million to $2 million budgets. And then you have chambers that could have a $50,000 budget, $100,000 budget. So it just really depends on it. But the purpose of the chamber is to be a small business advocate for the business owner. So, and then of course, branding, networking, marketing, building connections within the community. A lot of, businesses that are for profit will want to reach out to nonprofit businesses to be able to either do donations or what is their mission? How can they partner together to make that nonprofit's mission come to term? Because I myself am nonprofit and am constantly looking for business owners to join my chamber. And then I'm looking for great events that I can plan that are, right up my business owner's alley, that they'll want to sponsor my event to be able to then put their name out there, their logos out there, their mission out there. And at the same time, they're helping me and we're helping them with marketing, advertising, and connections and stuff. So there's tangible benefits to joining a chamber, and there's also non-tangible benefits to joining a chamber. I always ask the business owner or the person that is representing the business at the time, what do you want out of it? Why are you joining the chamber? Are you joining it to get a return on investment? Or are you really about community development and you just want to be able to put your money where community development is? And if that's the case, let's find out what that looks like for you and let's do that and stuff. So whether it's partnering with the schools and the ISPs, whether if it's partnering with the VFW, with CASA, with blood share on the blood banks, you name it, the chamber can probably find a partnership in it if it's got a business that's willing to sponsor it and stuff. So, and then the networking, I don't know if we mentioned it in the beginning, but I did have my first luncheon last week and you were a part of that. And there was 93 in attendance. That for you was 93 handshakes for $25, I think you paid to get into my luncheon. So divide that by 93. And if you walked out with maybe 5 to 10 business cards, I mean, a lead can go, how much leads can go for. So leads are pretty expensive depending on what search engine you're looking for them. So, I mean, that's a huge benefit right there. Just being in my building alone, you had 93 contacts that you were able to develop a relationship with. And I think I saw you shaking a couple hands in there too. So.
Absolutely.
I'm glad you
Dr. Michelle.
mentioned about the contacts and things like that, because being in those meetings and knowing initially what their objective is, and whether it's being, having you, publicize, their business and or promote or anything like that, it's so ideal for you to just say, what's your purpose? Why do you, need to be here? Because the reason is everything. Because sometimes, I mean, I'm certain that you witness situations where the motives may not be, 100% genuine. Can you talk about that some?
Absolutely. So that would be like a blanket approach, correct? So an example, I have Teacher of the Year coming up and I'm looking for a presenting sponsor for that. And to be able to, I have a couple businesses that are wanting to do that presenting sponsor, but does it align with their mission, right? So Harbor Hospice is a hospice company within Liberty that has been in Liberty for a very long time. And they've seen the benefit of the luncheon that we just had with State of the County. And I had the hospital sponsored that. And so when they saw that and they heard about Teacher of the Year and going through the pandemic and just healthcare and teachers alone, that is what they said. We want to be a part of that. How can we be a part of that? And what are the key players in that? And what does that look like for us? Right. So then I go ahead and put down a proposal and say, this is the amount of money I'm looking for. This is what the benefit is going to be for you. These are the reaches. And, as long as being at our head table, you'll be at our head table, you'll be able to present our speakers and be able to have that direct contact with our teachers and stuff like that. But just being able to have their name associated with Teacher of the Year and
Right.
representing 32 teachers within the county and all their hard work that they've done, that means something to them versus me just, and just lack of a better example, just calling Darnold and saying, "Hey, I need a presenting sponsor for my Teacher of the Year. I know we just met, but I heard you said you had a lot of money and you're ready to spend it, and this is what I need, and this is my dates, and can you do it?"
Right.
Right? So he'd be like, "Okay, well, yeah, I just met her. Yeah, she's really nice. I do have the money, but I mean, what is her event? But oh, maybe. Okay, let's talk about it." Right? Versus, them seeing our event in action, them knowing what our next event is. They know that I need that need filled. And so the ask is so much easier. It's really not even an ask. It's, can you put this together for me so I can present this to my higher up? Because the check request is there. I just need to put the backing to it to show her what all we're going to get with that and
Mhm.
stuff. So it's exactly that. It's developing those relationships, sitting down with them, figuring out what their vision is, and making that come to pass. We have a business expo coming up in May, and one of the banks wants to jump on board with that as well now
Mhm.
too, right? So it's just a matter of putting right events together, which sometimes are
Mhm.
hits and miss, and we try. We don't know it all, but we're doing what we can do. But it's putting great events together, aligning great sponsors together with it, and then the community jumps on board, and then they spread the word themselves because then they're a part of it, right? Like, we're a part of Teacher of the Year. Get your tickets, register now. Harbor Hospice is the presenting sponsor. And this is just an example and stuff, but that is how having those relationships and making those warm connections and finding out what their why is. Right? Like, I have a why on why you should join me, and I'm sure you have a why on why you would want to partner with me. I mean, we met off of financial education for the high schoolers because I went to a networking event that I had been asked to go to on a Monday at noon for several times. I finally had the free time, so I shot out there, and I knew 4 people in the room, and I gained 2 new members from it, from just going and
Wow.
standing up and saying who I am. And that's how me and Darnold met, was because he's talked about his split and he also talked about his global and stuff. And I was like more interested in the live and getting our high schoolers financially educated because I know for a fact that that is a huge miss. And prior to
Absolutely.
me jumping on board with the chamber, I was a relationship manager for Bank of America, and I was able to consult with small business owners and retail clients. And the lack of financial education is across the board. There's no discrimination. There's no age group. It's just across the board completely. And majority of it is generational because you grow up in it. So if you are growing up in it and there's a fear of it, you're going to have a fear of it as well too and stuff. Or if you grow up in it and you live lavishly, you're going to just try to live lavishly and stuff. So I think the lack of financial education is across the board, and being able to get that into our high schoolers before they go to college, and to be able to make correct financial educational choices for them before they even buy a house would be ideal, and it should be our duty to do that. So that's why I jumped on board to partner and to do this, because I just was like, yes, let's bring that to Liberty. I have high schools out here. I've already put my foot in the door. I've already sent emails stating that this is what the chamber wants to do. And now I have an expert that can kind of give us the tools to be able to make that happen and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Well, now
that's
you have two experts because Dr.
right.
Michelle is in the financial arena too, and she's phenomenal.
Right. Right. And I mean, you know how important that is. And like I said, we could even do probably a financial education course for adults or 40 and over, or getting into retirement, how to handle your retirement properly and make it last, so
Wow.
yeah.
That's great that you say that, because those are the areas that my firm specializes in, is getting our adults to understand and know the benefits of structuring for retirement, or family planning, asset management, and all of that kind of thing. And I can certainly relate to what you were saying, because my background has been in education for years before I came into the financial services industry. So I can absolutely relate to the lack of a financial literacy. And most times, we were born into it, and so we have to learn later. And the beautiful thing about it is that once we learn this stuff, we are obligated to execute.
Yes, yes. I tell my boys, I'm saying, it's, I segue a little bit, but it's kind of like growing up in the Word, right? When you grow up in the Word, your compass is centered. So when you stray off at 15 and 16, you kind of get a gut check. Versus if you find the Word when you're 30, 35, you don't get the gut check till you're 30, 35, right? So it's kind of like, God, man, why do I have to grow up like this? But the benefit in that is you know how to go through a trial and tribulation without freaking out.
You better take us to church, Jennifer. You better take us to church.
Preach.
We can have a whole other segment, but I'll just leave it at that. And then for the financial education, like I tell my boys, and even in high school, it's a matter of who you know, not what you know. So if you could build those relationships with your counselors now, with your teachers now, that B that's almost an A, that may be an A come report card time, because of the effort that they see. They see that you put the effort for, versus you just, coming in and going, it's going to stay what it is and stuff. So it's the same with, financial. We learn it young, we balance it, and you could have financial freedom throughout your young adulthood, and then you could retire at 50 because you're managing your money correctly, and you're putting it away, you're paying yourself, you're tithing, you're doing everything that you're supposed to do. And next thing you know, you're sitting on a beach somewhere just enjoying life.
This is good. This
amazing.
is
I love your passion.
Because we live it and we know it, right? We live it and
Absolutely.
we know it, and we know how it can change somebody's life. Like just those little bits of education can really change somebody's life from prosperity to despair and stuff. And how do you handle it within that time frame too, right? What is your mental state as you're going through the growth process and stuff? So yeah, we could get it on my boys. They tune me out after 10 minutes.
Yeah, sometimes it helps to have other people pour into their lives too. So that's ultimately why I started the station, because I was like, we need to educate people, and we need to give them a platform where they can have their questions answered. Because a lot of times you go on YouTube and obviously you watch the show, but guess what? You can't really interact with the guest, the expert. So this is the opportunity for our audience to interact with the guests and ask whatever questions. So if you are watching, and if you have any questions for Jennifer, go ahead and type it in the chat. And while you're doing that, how can people get a hold of you, Jennifer?
Yes,
Or get a hold of the
you
chamber?
you can definitely hit our website up at libertycountychamber.com. There is an want more info, and you can fill that out. You can call me direct, 713-992-6209. I do work from my cell phone number. You can also call the office at 936-336-5736. And then my email, of course, which is jennifer@libertycountychamber.com. And then we're in the office. We're out in the field a lot too, but definitely text, call, send an email, sometimes a smoke signal because I am super busy, but I will get
the Batman signal.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I've ever missed anything for you, but yes. So, and I just appreciate all that, because it's about connections, and another story about like the chamber and the connection. So we've launched Chamber Cheers, which is a networking event. It's 4 to 6. We try to do it every 5 to 6 weeks. They're great events to sponsor it. And there's alcohol and non-alcohol, and then there's little finger bites, and it's a pop in, pop out. And we get about, I would say, 60 to 80 that come in, pop in and pop out and come into these events. And we had 2 chamber members that did not know each other prior to these events that met at one of the chamber cheers that we had in Christmas. And one of them is Ross Ward, and he's out of Dayton with 101 Street Brewery. And then we have Chris Adams out of Lazy H Pizza in Liberty. And those 2 gentlemen met, great guys. They're both launching businesses. Chris is actually doing a revamp here in Liberty because his business has just been there for, it can almost be 100-year-old building. That's how long the building's been there. But he's trying to do a whole revamp, whole name change, get this old stigma away from it, bring in new. And these 2 guys met, hit it off. They did a beer tasting together, possibly opening more locations together. And then Chris even got the idea to grow his own cornmeal and start doing bread and flour and all this other thing.
Wow.
So just one connection, I would probably say 3 to 4 more businesses developed from it, encouragement developed from it, partnership developed from it, and somebody would come alongside and say, hey, yeah, this is my buddy here. And sometimes that goes a long way, right? Stigmas, they stick, but if you got somebody who's going to vouch for you, it kind of makes the stigma go away a little bit sooner and stuff. So I think that is huge. The guys are super excited about that. The community is super excited about that. And had, we not start, and Chris was like our only guy for our couple first ambassador meetings. So it was awesome. I was super excited that he said yes to doing a chamber cheers and that he's just stuck it out, because sometimes when you're going through things and it's not fun to go through them, but when you do go through them and you keep pushing, the outcome is so much better had you just stopped and just stayed stuck where you were at and stuff. So
Absolutely.
I'm super excited for those 2 guys. The sky's the limit. They're both super excited. And Ross did a chamber cheers on our Christmas edition here, and Chris did our Love Edition chamber cheers for Valentine's in February. So I'm sure both of those guys will circle back around come spring or summer. And I hope you guys come out to those events when they do something for us again, because they're great events.
Absolutely.
Sure. That's a priceless feeling.
Amazing story. Amazing story. I got one more question for you. I know that people join the chamber, most people like, okay, I'm a small business and everything, but there's so many other reasons. And I know that a lot of times, the chamber, they seek to improve communities, schools, streets, housing, public works, fire station, the police protection, parks, playgrounds, and all of that kind of thing. Talk to us briefly about the mission of your chamber for those types of services.
Absolutely. So we call it the Level Up and the Beautification Project, and we are working on that and developing that. That consists of our City Pride sign. So there's 4 signs at our entry points. That's something that we've been working on since we've taken over. We are about, I would say, 80 to 90% through. We've been working with the city on those. If you guys have driven in and out of Liberty, whether it's through 90, 546, 146, you would see the signs are kind of down to the side. So that is something that we've been working on. That has been in existence since 1999. Those signs, the community has been trying to get those situated since 2012. So if we could get that sign sealed and delivered in 2022, hey, we've already done our work for this year. The next one is our mural project. We're trying to get murals across our city, across our area. We have beautiful antique buildings out here, and some of them have walls that are just kind of open. And so we want to vibrant up Liberty. We are looking for people that are artists, that are great, that know how to draw and want to do murals on the buildings around here. So if you are an artist and you know how to do murals and you want to submit your artwork to the chamber, please do so. If you're an artist and you like to paint and you want to volunteer time or you need community service for that, let us know. As far as our sheriff department is being rebuilt. That was something that was already in the works before we got here, but we are getting a new sheriff's building. And then just cleaning up the sidewalks and cleaning up the grass areas and just helping business owners kind of do a little facelift one at a time. So those are the projects that we have going on for 2022 so far.
Fantastic. Well, isn't that a wealth of information? So artists,
you said quick.
From that one question, hey, we have some artists that need to be submitting their work.
That's right.
Please. You could tag your name, put your Instagram, whatever you need to do to market yourself on my mural. You could do it.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Yes.
You're a mover and shaker, and you have a lot of things going on with the chamber, which is great.
Aww,
so before we leave, what are some resources you would recommend, whether books or podcasts? It could be chamber related, it could be non-chamber related, but as far as like financial literacy, what are some books that have personally helped you in the past?
So Rich Dad Poor Dad is always a good book. I always lean to the Word, so I'm always drenched with the Word. I'm very connected, so I always go to that. I think that's the best advice, especially discernment. So if you're not in the Word, you need to be in the Word. You need to be seeking guidance in that manner. And then, like I told you before, I love watching SEAL trainings, SEAL motivation, anything motivational, because sometimes we feel like we're in the trenches. But if you ever just watch SEAL training, even Hell Week for SEAL training, your situation is nothing compared to what they're going through. And it'll make you not want to give up and stuff like that, because that stuff is very, very, very tough and stuff. But the outcome for that is amazing, because I guarantee any of us would want a SEAL rescuing us, right? Because we know that they've been through it and stuff. So
Absolutely.
Same for us, we've been through it. So those are my best resources for you guys.
Yeah, thank you to all the military people out there. Oh my gosh, mad respect. And we're praying for Ukraine right now. The situation there is very dire. So we definitely pray that everything works out in a good way where peace comes to the country. So, well, thank you, Jennifer, for being a part of our show. Thank you for taking time out your busy schedule. Being a single mom and being the head of a chamber, I know how time consuming that could be. And so thank you so much for your time.
No, thank you guys. Thank you, Michelle, Dr. Michelle. Thank you, Darnell. I appreciate you guys.
Pleasure.
Yes. We'll talk soon. So, wow. Isn't she a wealth of information? She has a lot going on, and I'm so impressed by her. And I have mad respect for everything that she has going on. They just had their first major luncheon, which I got to attend last week, and they had over 90 people, is what she said. And she's like, the first luncheon of the year. And these aren't just like anybody. These are like county judges. The mayor was there, like presidents, CEOs of organizations were there. Like it was a great event. So yeah. So if you ever are interested in joining a chamber, definitely check out your local chamber. And how that helps with financial literacy is because I always say your network is your net worth.
Absolutely.
Right? Your network is your net worth. And so it's a way to connect with other people in the community and see if you can provide value for them and vice versa. And then obviously move your community forward. And so it's about who you know and not what you know, right?
Absolutely.
All the cliches.
Exactly. And that's one of the things that I've been teaching these past few weeks with the Wealth Tattletale is building unique and loyal networks. It's so important. You cannot scale a business or you cannot grow unless you network. And it's an art form, and you have to get out there. You cannot be successful just trying to man everything by yourself. You gotta have to incorporate the efforts of others, and that means your community.
That's right. So if you got any value out of today's video, go ahead and smash that like button, share this with as many people as you can, and also subscribe to our YouTube station. So let me put the banner there on the bottom. Subscribe to the YouTube station. If you're watching through Facebook, you can go to finliplive.com and it'll direct you straight to the YouTube station. So go ahead and subscribe. My goal is to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and we're on track to doing that. So I appreciate you guys for following us. And let's go ahead. Next week we have a new guest on, so stay tuned, 7 p.m. next Tuesday, and let's get lit.